पंच प्रधान पंच पावै दरगह मान पंच परवान पंच प्रधान पंच पावै दरगह मान पंच परवान पंच सोहे दर राजा पंच सोहे दर राजा पंचाकाय पंचाकागुर एक ध्यान पंचाकागुर एक ध्यान पंच परवान पंच प्रधान पंच पावै दरगह मान पंच परवान जे को कहे करे वे जार जे को कहे करे विचार करत के करणे नाही सुना करत के करणे नाही सुना पंच परवान पंच प्रधान पंच पावै दरगह मान पंच परवान धाल धर्म दया का पूत धाल धर्म दया का पूत संतोख थाप रखिया जन सू संतोख थाप रखिया जन सू जे को बुझे होवे सचियार जे को बुझे होवे सचियार धवले ऊपर केता भार धवले ऊपर केता भार पंच परवान पंच प्रधान पंच पावै दरगह मान पंच पावै दरगह मान पंच परवान धरती होर परे होर हो धरती होर परे होर होर तिस ते पार तले कवण जो, तिस ते पार तले कवण जो। जिया जात रंगा के नाम, जिया जात रंगा के नाम। सबना लिखिया मुड़े कलाम, सबना लिखिया मुड़े कलाम। लेखा लिखिया केता हो, लेखा लेके आओ ए लेखा लिख जाने को। लेखा लेके आओ केता हो, ए लेखा लिख जाने को। लेखा लेके आ केता हो, केता ताण सवाले और केती दात जाने कौन कूत। केती दात जाने कौन कूत। कीता फसाओ एक गवाओ, कीता फसाओ एक गवाओ। तिस ते होए लख दरिया, तिस ते होए लख दरिया। पंच परवार पंच परधार, पंच पावै दरगह मान। पंच परवार कुदरत कवण कहावे जार। कुदरत कवण कहावे जार। वारिया न जावा एक बार, जो तुद भावै साई बलिकार। तू सदा सलामत निरंकार। पंच परवार पंच परधान, पंच बावै दरगह मान। पंच परवार। In our last get together, Shri Guru Nanak Dev Ji took us from the physical dimension into the mystical spiritual dimension by indicating that the process of mindful listening, when the mind that is scattered right now becomes focused, becomes one, then it leads to no mind. Hence, man na, manne ki gat kahi na jaye. Once the manna stage comes, then where are you? Okay? The last stage of the blissfulness. Manna pave mokh dwar. Manna parvare sadhar. Mokh dwar. The final destination. You want to call it nirvana. You want to call it a Satchit Anand. You want to call it ultimate bliss. That's your terminology you can use. Whatever you want to call it. You can call it enlightenment. That's the last stage. But is that really there is to it? And now Gurbani is going to walk us step by step and say, no, I just gave you the glimpse. I just gave you the gist. Start Japana, then start Sunna, and then learn Manana, and you are there. And those who are there, how did they get there? And now he's going to start further getting deeper into the process. The cause and the effect will walk side by side. Today's topic is extremely interesting as well as complex, because it's going to now challenge is the mind really focused or not? Did we understand what was said earlier? If part of that is missed, then this will become difficult. And I tell you why it is difficult. You can see the examples right now, that if you read the 6 scriptures and translations of this, the word panch pardhan, panch parvan, panch parvan, panch pardhan, panche pave dargahman. Now, there are 2 meanings here, and there are 2 thoughts going on parallel. Those of you who have studied Rajneesh, they will find that here he has translated panch means 5. So he's counting 5. And if you read Sikh literature, whether it's Professor Sahib Singh or Bhai Veer Singh and all those, they will say, no, there is a term in Punjab, those people who are considered little wiser than the rest of them, they were appointed a panch. And then 5 of them will choose one of them, and he will be called Sarpanch. Okay? And they both have translated assuming these 2. Neither one of them had tried to see the other side. And I beg to differ with both of them, because the word is connotating both. Because it is talking of the outer when it turned inward. See, remember the journey from Sunna. Sunna is the ear, right? I mean, we went through quite a bit of detail. How to have the right use of the ear. The right mindful listening. And if the mindful listening happens, then Gurbani immediately turned inward and said man. Now man is not physical. It took you immediately to the non-physical. And now he is combining the both. The next stanza is combining the physical and the non-physical. So both meanings are going to go parallel. Rajneesh is not paying attention at all to the physical aspect, also because he is not from Punjab. He does not understand the root of the word. Whereas the people who are stuck with the grammar, they cannot see the internal meaning of it, so they stay with the physical. They are talking about sarpanch and panch. Panch means those who are higher than, who has evolved to that level. So the entire translation, that those are The Panch means that one who has evolved, hence they are now also respected in that dimension. Panch Parvan, Panch Pardhan. Pardhan, the word you understand, the president, meaning again the leader, the one who has risen higher. Panch Parvan, they are the one who are accepted. Panche Pave Dargeman, they are the one who are also respected. Why? Because Pancha Ka Gur Ek Dhyan, they are merging into their dhyan, their basic essence has merged into that one. So that's one translation. So let's now keep both of them in mind, because when you look at the word 5, Panch Parvan, where did we start our journey? We said we are starting the journey by taking one karmindriya. That was a jibha striking a partnership with the listening. With the tongue we started japana, and we said whatever you are reciting, whatever you are meditating, you must hear it yourself. You must listen. You should not focus on the other, that they should listen. Now when they came in partnership, and slowly the physical dropped, japana became simrana, simrana became dhyan, dhyan became samadhi. We went through those stages. But is that a function of only one? That is just a listening? No, now Gurbani is taking you to the next stage. Say no, that process was only explained to you with the words saying mindful listening. That was just an example. All of the karmindriya and all of the jnanindriya, all 5 karmindriya has to follow the same process. It's just not the mindful listening. It's the mindful seeing also. It's the mindful talking also. It's mindful tasting also. Not just one. All 5 karmindriya has to become one. Paying attention to what? Pancha ka gur. Should be what? Ek dhyan. Now, let's look at it physically, scientifically. My eye cannot hear, and my ear cannot see. You are seeing me as well as listening to me. What is the energy which puts them both together and say this sound is coming from the same person I am seeing? Think about it. Sound energy went and struck here. Light energy went and struck here. Something back there is determining, is this coming from, is the looking at this face and the sound coming from there, or they coming from the same person? What is that energy that puts it together? That is Pancha Ka Gur Ek Dhyan. That energy, that dhyan, that essence which takes all 5 of them and put them together and makes sense for us. That energy is, the source is only one. Now, while I am talking and while you are seeing me, I could also be touching you. Now, these 2 karmindriyas have nothing to do with this karmindriya, which is the skin. But the energy behind all 3 of them was able to put it together and said, yeah, it is coming from the same person. If my words and my sound continues and he touches me or you will know that the touch is coming from somebody else, the sound is coming from somebody else, and the light is coming from somebody else. So Gurbani says, watch, pay attention to that one, not the individual karmindri, not those 5. Those who got to the stage of manana, this is what they did. They took all of them 5, and no matter where the input came from, they thought always, focus always remained, Pancha ka gur ek dhyan. It stayed there. See that how the link is between all these of them? They are not just random thoughts. That we were talking of manne ki gat kahi manne pave mokh dwar manne parware sadar panch parvan panch pradhan. What's going on here? Look at the thread, the common thread that's going underneath it. It's saying those who got to that stage, they not just sunna and japana, nahi, chona, the touch, the smell, the talk, the hear, all of the senses, all 5 of them. What happened to them? Panch Parvan. They became complete. Why? Panch Pradhan, because they rose above. The Pradhan means the word what is that Pradhan? Pradhan means the highest. They rose above the individuality. Why? Because each one of them pointed out to what? Pancha ka gur ek dhyan. They pointed to that one. That is the discipline of bhakti. That's the sadhana. So that the 6, the Jagyasu does not just go away from here. I have started saying Ram Ram, Om Om, Vaheguru Vaheguru, Soham Soham, and I'm done. So no, wait a minute. You just started with one of your karmindriya, which is your jibha, which is your tongue. You just started with one. But that process needs to reach the completion in all 5 senses and all 5 instruments and the senses behind it. Panch Parvan. Pancha Pave Dargah Man. Dargah means the other dimension. So if you are still tied with this dimension, if the word is resounding in the ear, but the tongue is hankering for the taste of the food, and or the sense, skin is hankering for the touch, nose is hankering for the smell, the eyes are hankering for the beauty, then you are still tied here. You haven't started the full journey. It is a complete process. It's not a partial thing. That's why it is so challenging. That's why not everybody dares go there. Tell me just one thing. As a matter of fact, I know the systems where they say you leave one particular fruit or vegetable you shouldn't eat ever. You're done. So they just refuse one. कोई केला खाना छोड़ देता है, कोई आम पीना खाना छोड़ देता है, कोई I won't take the most focus is I won't take onions or garlic. ठीक है, I surrendered that taste. No, you haven't surrendered anything. You have just suppressed or denied yourself the taste of that particular thing. That's all. Because transcendence cannot be of a thing. The transcendence will be of everything or it will be nothing. Don't ever fall in that trap. I have no taste for the meat, hence I am okay. No, you shouldn't have the desire or the taste for a vegetable or a lentil or a soup or anything. When the tongue is not hankering for anything, then you have transcended the taste. It can never be partial. And now Gurvani takes her to the next sense. It is not just one sense. It's talking of all 5 of them. And those who have done it, then they are the Pancha. See how the word is playing the dual characteristic? Physical and non-physical is hidden into the single word. Because if it was a pure language, if it was a counting, they could have said panj. Right? In Hindi as well as in Gurumukhi, the word is panj. But they didn't. They said panch. Now panch and panch and panch, they are all sitting. See how the word is consolidated so that the image comes of the physical as well as the non-physical. Physical sense, and it is repeated. Panch parvan, panch pardhan. What? The sense which has gone above. Panche pavah dargah man means one which has transcended to the other dimension. Panche sohe dar rajan. Now, this line has been translated in by both Rajneesh and Professor Sahib Singh. Rajans mean the Raje, kings. There's nothing to do with the translation is that they are as they are. You see, in a king's court, some special people are considered as the shan, decoration or matter of pride. So the king will invite those special people all the time. He's surrounded by those special souls. We do that in our homes also, right? With special people. Just because there's a dignitary, there is special characteristics in him. The people, for whatever reason, it will add the beauty and charm to the congregation. And that's the translation. Sohe dar means they are beautifying, they are decorating. They are the elite, exactly. But that's not what, because Gurbani is teaching humility, not the eliteness. Panche sohe dar rajan. He says, they get to that dar, that door, they get to that place by what? Rajan, by Rajje, complete way. Contentment. All five senses, all karmindriya, all gyanindriya of those individuals are completely contented. There is no hankering of anything. Now see pay attention to that. I'm saying no hankering. Doesn't mean that they don't use the senses. If the body needs the food, they feed it. But there's no there's no greed going on. There's no undercurrent. There's enough. And if it's not available, it's okay. If it's available, it's okay. For a non-punch, non-evolved, if it's not available, it's painful. If it's available, I want to eat so much that I fall sick. Or I need to burn calories by running around the house. I eat too much. Why? Because it's so tasty. Give me another helping. Why? Because the body doesn't allow it, but the mind. The karmindri is done, but the gyanindri is not. It's still hankering. So that is the transcendence. And that's what is hinted here in physical sense as well as in temporal, in non-physical sense. So that's why I am saying that you individually teach those who you have read, you will find one said in another one and the other said in the other. They have not even bothered to acknowledge the second. And here we want to look at the totality of it. Once you are into a ek dhyan, now look how the energy you can see in your own daily life. This thing will happen. Let's say that you stub your toe and you have the splinter on it and everything, or your thumb. Suddenly you remember that thumb. Otherwise nobody is aware of the thumb, nobody is aware of the toe. But let that toe be stubbed, whole of the energy goes there. Not only that, whole of the world would want to step on it. Everybody who walks by, oh, that was the one. You open the door, you'll hit that. With the same thumb, same toe will hit the door. What's going on here? All of the energy, all of the consciousness has now recognized that part which was otherwise out of the consciousness. So what happened? Sara dhyan. Whole attention is now focused on this. All other karma indriya will actually get suspended. When the toe is hurting, try eating something, no matter how tasty it is. Tell me what the taste is. See what happens. The taste buds will refuse to send the signal to the brain. If they do, the brain will refuse to recognize it. The only signal it is recognizing is the pain throbbing in the toe. What has happened? That is the ek dhyan doing its job. Energy is required there. Healing power is required there. So it is the rest of the are on autopilot. Put them away. They are not required. Now these things are happening to us unconsciously. Sometimes subconsciously. They are not the same thing. Unconscious, subconscious. They're different things. But when we are absolutely, totally aware of it ourselves, if you know, most of you probably have this heard before, that a learning process is what? First we are absolutely conscious of our incompetence. I know, I don't know. That's my first stage. Then I start learning. Now I am consciously incompetent. Then I become consciously incompetent. Consciously competent. First I am consciously incompetent. Then I become consciously incompetent. Competent. So process. So from first stage, first I wasn't even aware that I don't know. Then I become aware that I don't know. Then I know some. And where do I want to go? I want to go where I am unconsciously competent. Meaning what? Look at how I drive the car. Right? First I know I don't know. Then I know, sit in the car, I know herky jerky. And slowly my competence get to the such a level that I'm totally unaware now, I'm driving around now. When you can put the mind-body system to complete unconscious competence, and every sense only points toward that one energy, that one ultimate creator, you have gotten to the stage of Pancha Ka Gur Ek Dhyan. Now when you get to that stage, at that point now the words, the explanation, the language, intellect becomes totally useless, totally meaningless. Because they will ask you to explain, there is nothing you can do. All you can invite, you can say, come see it for yourself. And that's what the next line says. Je ko kahe, kare vichar, karte ke karne nahi sumar. If you try to put this thing in words, be aware that it's going to be a fruitless effort. And Gurbani says that it uses a parable that is very old parable in Indian mythology. That when we used to tell the children why there's earthquake, And the example used to be, our answer used to be given, this earth is being sported on the horns of a bull, a single horn, and when he gets tired and he shifts his horn, the earth shakes. That was the explanation given. Okay, to a untrained, unscientific mind, that explanation was enough. So, Gurbani says, take this myth. Somebody tried to explain with the intellect. If this earth is being sported by a bull, then wouldn't the question arise, who's sporting that bull? Mm-hmm. And wouldn't that question arise, who's sporting that bull? And so on and so forth. But we never bothered to say that. And not only that, this is not the only earth. There are planets after planets after planets. So are these all being sported by different bulls? But we didn't bother to do that. So he says, stop going on that journey. It's only going to get more and more confused and bothersome. Well, isn't that rather cop-out? He says, no. It's not a cop-out. It is the acknowledgement of what? जे को कहे करे विचार, करते के करने नाही सुमार. He says, I am acknowledging right in the beginning that the Creator is not limited. If you limit the Creator, then the Creator is like you and I, who has a certain powers, and that's it. The Creator's infiniteness is acknowledged up front. And we have had this conversation before, that if we follow the model that the Creator created this creation in 6 days and on the 7th day He rested, as is the belief system in both Christianity, Islam and Judaism, that means He's done. There's nothing more to be done because He's finished His job. In 6 days He created and He's done. If He finished His job, that means there is a certain limit, the boundary. He started here, in 6 days He did that much. It doesn't matter how much that is, it still is fixed. It still has its limit. It still has its boundary. Because He needed to rest on the 7th day. Gurbani says that is not true. He's limitless. That means He isn't done creating. He started creating. He is still creating. He will continue to creating. It is never-ending process. Hence, it is not a creator, to say the word. It's a creative energy. It is a creation ongoing, which has no beginning, which has no end. Hence, since it has no end, stop going into that direction. What is then, how do I come to peace with it? Because that basically leaves a kind of a hole in the entire thinking process. And Gurbani says, let me tell you what's going on. Dhaul dharam daya ka put. Dhaul means this earth. He says the whole of the creation, earth is a symbolic of creation. Is a creation is based on certain laws, dharma, the basic essence. Dharma does not mean religion. Dharma. What is that? He says the essence. Each thing that is created on this, in this whole creation, has a basic characteristic. The fire can only burn. The water can only cool. They have characteristics. That is their actual dharma. And they cannot go against their dharma. Whatever is the basic nature, they cannot go against it. All elements have been given certain characteristic. Now, if you go to ask a scientist and say, what is the property of water? Well, they can break it down and say, well, it's H2O. Okay, now, but wait. I want to break it further down. Well, so many electrons, so many protons. Okay. But tell me why it does this. All they can tell you is there are so many electrons and so many protons. And all they can tell you is these are the properties of this. What caused that property, they cannot say. Science stops by saying this is the property of oxygen, this is the property of nitrogen, this is the property of whatever else. The rest, all the elements, they have properties. And if you say why they are, they, instead of answering that question, they say, well, there are so many electrons, so many protons. But wait a minute, you still didn't describe as to why it is. Gurbani says that is the term is using says that is his dharma. Dhaul dharma. And what is keeping it together? Kehne lage daya ka poot. Now, word daya needs to be understood. Because the next word is coming santokh. Now, literally translated, daya means to have a pity on the other. And the santokh means to be contented. To have the contentment, the one which we said earlier, pancha sohe dar rajan. So, the word daya applies to the outer. The word santokh, the contentment, applies to the inner. Right? Daya is always done on the other. But what have we done? We have reversed the role. Huh? Somebody is sick, well, it's his destiny, you know, what can we do? He should be okay with it, right? So, santokh, be content because that's what your destiny is. और दया किसके ऊपर करते हैं? The poor me. We have reversed the role. The pity is on the self and the contentment is meant for the other. Whereas its actual dharma was contentment for the self and pity on the other. And Gurbani says, unless that happens, which is, unless that the daya happens on the other side, the actual dharma cannot be acknowledged. It cannot be realized. Dhaul dharm daya ka poot. So as if the daya, as if the pity, I mean there is no proper word actually. Pity is not the right translation. It gives a different connotation.
Compassion.
Compassion probably may be a little better word than pity. But that also is not really, because the feeling you are having toward the other is not to put the other down. It's not a condescending. It's not patronizing either. It is a helping hand. And the helping hand not out of the desire. Helping hand is because I have nothing else but to give. I have so much access. I don't need this. I am so much overflowing. When the help happens out of the overflow. Now, some people make only $100 a week and can very easily give all $100 and not even feel a single thing. To them, that is overflow. Hey, this is faltu, this is excess, I can give it away. You need more, so go ahead and use it right now. When the outpour happens because of the excess overflow, that relationship is daya. That relationship is actually seva also. So that's why I'm saying that it's very difficult to find the exact words that
Empathy.
Empathy, we may say something to that level. So it's not sympathy, because that sympathy will put the other person, make the other person feel lower than where you are. So now Gurvani points out, says, Dhaul dharma daya ka poot. It is that empathy, it is that compassion out of which the dharma is born. He is the son, daya is the mother. So why is that important here? This is that creator. The creation has come out of his daya. Pure overflowing. No condition. I just want you to be this. Well, what did I do to deserve this? He said, no, you didn't do anything, you just be this. I want you to be this. I'm so overflowing. You have this. And what is given to is, that's the essence, that's a dharma. Dhaul dharma daya ka poot santokh thap rakhya jan soot. The contentment is keeping it together. Soot, sutar, dhaga, motiyan mala ban diye. As that soot, as that thread keeps the all of the beads of that necklace tied together. See what's keeping it together is the contentment. How does that apply to you? The Creator is extremely contented in what it has done. We are unhappy with what He has done. Right? We can sing Duniya banale wale kya tere man mein samai kahe ye duniya banai. He's not asking that question. He's not worried about it. What is he doing? He said, Vekhe, Vigse, Kare, Vichar, Nana, Kathana. He's very happy. It's a Leela, drama. We complain about why there's so much misery, why there's so much hunger, why there's so much fights, why this person is like that, why a person like that. We have all of those questions. He doesn't. That's a true contentment. That's Santokh. Santokh thap rakhya jan soot. Once it's done, it's done. We see a child with no legs, my God. Why do you do these things? Oh, this guy is a saint. He's been meditating so much and he does this. But why he's so sick? Why he's suffering so much? Why he's poor? We have these questions. And where are those questions coming from? Non-contentment. Asantosh. If there was santosh, there will never be any question. And when there will be no question, we will be fulfilling the very first statement of Guru Nanak, which was Hukam Razahi Chalana. Isn't it? Look how it is all tied together. Santokh thap rakhya jan soot. Why is these statements important in this? Because the stanza started with Panch Parvan, Panch Vardhan. Those who have achieved that state from where? Manna. Those who Pave Mokh Dwar tak pahunche, they got all of these things packed. Because they became like within. Hence, Daya on the outside, Santokh in the inside, they both are required. And the life process goes on. And he gives that example of Dharti hor pare hor. How many planets are there? They cannot be counted. Tiste par tale kaman jo. Who's keeping them all together if we continue believing that myth? Ji Jat Ranga Kena. This is not just the planets, but the life forms. Different life forms. The scientists of today has one problem. They have discovered that the carbon-based, ammonia-based compounds give birth to the physical life, which can then is sustained under oxygen and water. So wherever they are going, they are looking for what? Carbon, ammonia, water, nitrogen, so that they can find the form, life form just like this. And Guru Bani says, what a naive outlook. Why can't we accept the fact that there can be a existence which is based on something totally different? We already know that there are animals on this planet who are not dependent upon oxygen. We already know the people can live underwater, they can live in the air, on the ground, and even in the stone a microbe can survive. When we know all of that, why are we stuck on the fact that we should be looking for, if there is water on the moon, we should be able to do this? Then there must be a life form there. Gurbani says, Dharti hor pare hor ho, tiste bharatale kavan jor, ji jaat ranga ke nav. How many of them? Life forms. He says, unlimited. Sabna likhya udi kalam. Everybody who gets curious then start describing, start theorizing, start hypothesizing. He says, nah. It's a futile effort. क्यों ए लेखा लिख जाने कोई लेखा लिखया केता होए? You say, how are you going to put this thing into any condensed word form when right now the creator isn't done creating yet? How are you ever going to describe it? You start describing only when you know, okay, the job is done. There's no more left. But that is not going to happen. It isn't the case. Creation goes on, will continue ad infinitum. Now in that creation is also included the destruction. He builds it today, tomorrow he might destroy, put it back together and start growing up again. This is a never-ending process. Nobody has been able to do, nobody can do it, so surrender, accept the fact. Again, why is this reminded here? Panch Parvan, Panch Pradhan. Those who got there understood this. Their ego dropped, their I dropped, their desire, their need. Because all of the karmindriya, they started looking toward what? Panchaka Guru Ek Dhya. See the continuity, see the linkage in it. Lekha likhya keta hoye, keta taan swalyo roop keti daat jane kaun koot. How much? Taan means energy, swalyo means the expansion, roop means the beauty. If you literally want to translate it, but that's not what he's saying. You say, how are you going to count the beauty? How are you going to count that how large, how big, how powerful, how energetic it is? It is impossible. Keti daat jane kaun koot. Now, what does that mean? That means the gift. So everything that is given to us, everything that we have is a dat. If you look at from the spiritual, from the mystical point of view, you will find, I don't suggest that the children can start and telling mother and father and say, well, you're not giving me anything. Though, spiritually that would be a true statement. But that doesn't mean that it is teaching the ingratitude to the medium. It's basically saying recognize that beyond. If the milk is coming through the child, mother's body is being used as a tool, but the production of the milk and the mechanism that was designed to create milk was done by somebody else. It's a gift from the beyond. hands, the legs, all the karmindriyas, they are gift from the beyond. The body, the intellect, the knowledge, all the words, gift from the beyond. Because all of that we are now sharing with each other is basically gift, right? If you can, many times we have this discussion, well, I read the same book, but I didn't remember it. Now you pointed out, now I remember it. Well, should I now take the credit for that I can remember it? Or is it not a fact that it's a gift? You read the same book, I read the same book. But there's a certain gift from the beyond. You have other gifts which I don't, and I have the gifts that you don't, and that's what data. To each individual entity, different types of gifts. Keti dat jane kaun koot. Here now the Gurbani basically agrees with the, look how the mysticism and science is coming together. Kita pasao eko kawao. Kawao word kuna, Punjabi, the kuna means to say something. Kita pasao. Pasao means expansion. From one to the many. How? Eko kawao, with a single word. And Islam says, Allah said kun, means hoja. Science says there was a big sound, big bang, and everything came. They're basically saying the same thing. Means what? Here was an essence and energy which wanted to become many. And it was not a process of slow evolution. It was hoja. That's it. Be. As in the parables that is in the Judaism, God said, let there be light. And then there was light. And then he said, let there be birds and let there be this and let on and on and on. And that was it. And Gurbani says, more in a more simplified way, say, Kita pasao eko kawao tiste hoye lakh dariyao. Then, infinite. All of the religions basically accept the fact, because we are air, water-based animals, we had the air, which is kuna, hava, because the sound does not travel without the air. And then the water. Water from within the air because of the composition of the air. At another place, Gurbani says, Pehla pani jiyo hai jit harya sab koe. Sache te pavana bhaya. Pavane te jal hoye. See, another place, Gurbani describes that. Sache te pavana bhaya. From that creative energy, the truth. Air, pavana bhaya, pavane te jal hoye, and then the water, jal te trab havan sajya, then the life form started. Ghat ghat jot samoy, then, and once the creation is there, the creator became the part of its every creation, which is the most difficult as well as simple and beautiful thing to understand. That this creator is part of its creation. It's not separate, it's not sitting outside. So it doesn't matter what creation you take a flower, or you take a bird, you take a microbe, you take a human, you take a gigantic animal, doesn't matter. He's a part of that. He's inside there. Then, if that is the case, if this is the mystery of the creation, then what should be the real focus of the human form? Because We started with Panch Parvan, Panch Pradhan. He says, well then, what those Pradhan, those Panch, those who got to that stage, what did they do? They said, Kudrat Kavan Kaha Vichar, Varya na Java Ek Var, Jo Tud Bhave Sai Bhalikar, Tu Sada Salamat Narankar. Their focus remained on that. What? What is the focus? Jo Tud Bhave Sai Bhalikar. Whatever you're doing, that is it. It's totally acceptable. To every karmindri, to every gyanindri, it is totally acceptable without any question, without any doubt, without a single iota of a clarification needed. Jotud bhave sai bharika. Total surrendering. Because without that surrendering, the hankering of the individual karmindriya cannot stop. It will not stop at all. Because if I want to taste something and there is a desire and somebody says don't do that, the question will come, why not? The process starts, dialogue started already. So Gurbani says, those Panch Parvan, Panch Pradhan, Panche Pave Dar Gehman, Panche Sohe Dar Rajan, they got to that stage. How? Kudrat Kavan Kaha Vichar. They did not fall into the trap of what? Of analyzing the nature. They did not go into the study of each separate bird and each separate plant and analyzing them and finding the good or bad or this and that. Because that is knowledge gathering. No matter where you go, how much you do, you are not going to find the end of it. They knew, they accepted right in the beginning. And what did they do? Kudrat kavan kaha vichar, varya na java ek var. See, this is so vast that even a single human being cannot even find the right word to say it. And so many have tried. And it has not happened. So, they surrender right in the beginning saying what? Jo tud bhave sai bhalika. Whatever you do. When I have seen these things, and many times I get a kick out of that, the people will say, every evening they will pray, right? They will pray, say, oh God, everything that you're doing is nice. Please make sure that I pass my exam tomorrow. And I meet some very, very blessed people. Save me from a meeting. Wait a minute. I thought you said everything you're doing is right. If that is what it is there anything else left to say? We have a particular sect in Sikhism. This is their favorite thing. Sakhi da mel karwai, dargah de takke di darshan na karwai. Sin ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਮਿਲੀ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਮਿਲਿਆ ਤੇਰਾ ਨਾ ਆਪਣਾ ਬੜੀ ਚੰਗੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਮਿਲੀ. Isn't it amazing? ऊपर क्या है? Whatever you do is fine. But make sure that I don't run into somebody who is not actual a meditator. Okay? Now it sounds very good. But it negated the entire thought. It basically showed that you are really not happy with what he is doing or what he is going to do. You are putting down instructions for him. You are laying out a plan for tomorrow, which is, this is our common thing. Din sukhna betit ho ya raat sukhna betit ho. Right? The day was good. Let the night be also good. Isn't it? So what if he doesn't want it to be good? What happened to that? Whatever you're doing is right. As soon as this becomes internalized to you, which is whatever he is doing, whatever he will do will be okay, all sorts of prayer absolutely stop. There's nothing left to say. You just go with the flow. Jo ho raha hai, so ho raha hai. Whatever comes is coming. Whatever is not coming was not meant to come. But we say it, but we don't understand the implication of this. That's why it is so difficult for us to implement it. Jo tud bhave sai bhalikar. This is the statement which got the people from Sunana to Manana to Panch Parvan. It is so powerful. It's such a pregnant statement, yet it keeps on slipping through our hands. फिर जी करिए प्रेयर ना करिए जी फिर अरदास ना कराया करिए फिर Why are you asking me? Is praying bad? Who said it's bad? Nobody says anything about being good or being bad. It's basically saying that your consciousness is still asking for something. It is still has not reached a stage where it says whatever you're doing is fine. There is still a hidden agenda. You want that creative force to follow your agenda. You are not yet following his agenda. Because if you are willing to follow his agenda, just watch the drama to open. Let the next scene come in front of you and just say, good, I'm enjoying it. There is no label here. I want to make sure that we are not getting away with the wrong message. Gurbani is not saying that you should not be praying. It's saying while you are praying, understand that Jotus bhave sai bhalikar gala puri hoi nahi. You haven't understood the significance of the statement Jo dud bhave sai bhalikar. Whatever you're doing, whatever is bhave, whatever is acceptable to you, that is sai bhalikar. That is the action, that is the karma that needs to be done. And those who understood that, those who implemented that, they got to the stage of what? Panch Parvan, Panch Pradhan, Panche Pave. So, let us hope, let us prepare ourselves to accept His will, whichever way it happens. Let's not go continuously and giving Him the list of things to do. I mean, somebody asked me, called me yesterday and said, did you do celebrate Thanksgiving? I said, my Thanksgiving is every day, every year. I don't know what is so special for this day. I am feeling sorry for 270 million turkeys.
Pardoned by the bread.
And there are only 245 million people in America, and they slaughter 270 million turkeys.
Sure.
Yeah. More than one per head for every child, adult. It's a big business, a big industry. Anyway,
I can find one.
Huh? No, that statistics is on article on the internet.
That's an awful number, right? Because possibly one family is average 5 people, right? So you want to have all the families have to have turkey to be able to.
No, when they do that, they distribute it a lot, and a lot is sitting on the shelves, and a lot is going to happen. The point I'm making is that the celebration or surrendering or thanking to the Creator for what we are doesn't need a day, an hour or something. It is every moment. The gratitude. Why? Gurbani said, we just heard, Keti daat jane kaun koot. Daat. Everything has been given to you as a gift. There is not a single thing that you can identify other than your own ego and arrogance that you have created. Everything else has been given to you as gift. And it is to done to every, not just one, not just two, not birds or animals or humans. It says across the board. And having done that, he is at peace with it. He is contented with it. There was actually a dialogue a child having that God made a mistake in making the head of the turkey so small and the body so large. It looks very ugly. And so if I was making it, I will make a little more proportionate body. Good. I can find faults with that. A child can find faults with that. But he's at peace. He's not going and revisiting his design and making sure that turkey's head looks more prettier. That's santokh. That's contentment. That's the inner peace with whatever it is. It is. He's not going to stop giving birth to the Hitlers and the Genghis Khans, no matter how much humanity cries about it. There are going to be few of them. He's not going to stop creating Kabirs and Nanaks of the world. There will be few of them. No matter how much world complains about it. That's contentment. That's santokh, inner peace. So let us prepare ourselves that we can try to get to that stage where Panch Parvan, Panch Pradhan, that we can also feel it, see it and experience it. So with that we'll conclude today's talk and we'll open for any questions, discussions. Thanks for coming and happy Thanksgiving.